My name is Kat Kurner. I've been around the healing arts and medicine for about 18 years. Although I sat first with mushrooms when I was 13, I was trained in the peyote way through the Native American Church for years, although I don't consider myself a part of the Native American Church or really associated with them any longer. I come from the Cherokee Nation. Unfortunately, my family did not grow up on a reservation. We were brought up to really shun the Native American culture because my grandmother married a white man who took her away from her roots. And I had to rediscover all of my beautiful culture later. But I don't practice in my native way. I practice in the way that I was called to, which was to work with psilocybin. I was called to work with people at the end of their lives. I was a hospice volunteer for many years. And when I learned that they were trying to basically bring relief to people at the end of their lives using psilocybin, I thought, this is my calling. And so I began to sit with people who were terminally ill. Where I live in San Diego, I happen to be good friends with someone who works with a doctor who allows people to have a dignified death. And it became a natural flow where they would refer people to me that wanted to sit in a psilocybin ceremony and help to get some answers towards the end of their life. That is where my heart is. I'm one of those people who happen to really enjoy working with people who are at the end of their lives. Since this psychedelic renaissance has happened, there's just more and more people who are sort of seeking out all different kinds of one-on-one ceremony. I still call it ceremony, even though it's different from the ceremony that I do in teepee around fire. It's a little bit of a combination, I would say, of almost a clinical model meets an indigenous model, if you will. I've been thinking a lot about our need to be able to simply have the right to not only sit with these medicines, but also to seek out the right people to sit with in medicine. And this is something that is formulating right now in my consciousness. And so forgive me if it's not very eloquent, because it's really come to me over the last couple of days, because we've been talking so much about creating some kind of a guild of guides or creating some kind of framework so that we're able to say, you know, if you have been a guide for this amount of time, you're able to do this, or you're able to, or you can have a certification, or, and the more that I sat with that and the more that I've thought about that, I thought, wow, you know, as human beings, we really don't give ourselves much credence, that we have the ability intuitively to ask the right questions of a person that we're considering to sit with or to research. I mean, now we have the internet, you know, I mean, if someone is not doing good work, you know, people are going to talk about it. You're going to know that. So for me, when I started doing this work very underground, my idea and my hope was that I would be just one person, you know, just one point of light. And then from that point of light, it shines out, and then other points of light come up. So anyone who has ever wanted to work with medicine in this way, who has sought me out, I've always given my time freely to do that, because I ultimately feel that we need lots and lots and lots and lots of light workers and helpers and ceremony holders. And so it's my hope that we can obviously decriminalize all of nature. I feel all drugs should be decriminalized, but that we can also hopefully influence lawmakers and educate lawmakers that um, we do have the ability to govern ourselves and our own souls and our own consciousness. And like many of us right now could go to a liquor store and choose to buy a bottle or 5 bottles of wine. You know, this is our choice. And I would like to see a conversation sort of begin around empowering each of us to be to have the ability to, we don't need to be nannied. We don't need to be, you know, we're not performing open heart surgery, so we don't need to have a medical degree. We need to trust ourselves. We need to come with good hearts in a good way. And ultimately, I think the rest sort of takes care of itself in a way, you know, that just come from a good place. And if you want to sit with medicine, if you want to serve medicine, train with elders. But we don't have 20 years for people to apprentice and come up with medicine in the way that it would be lovely if we could. We have a lot of human beings in this world that are suffering. And some of those humans will be able to come and sit with me and my teepee around fire, and they will be able to have a beautiful ceremony. It will transform them. Some people will go to Johns Hopkins University and they will sit with a medicine in a clinical environment, and that will help them. And I think that, you know, like I was so moved by Ishi and that spirit and that beautiful, powerful, youthful voice that I'm so thrilled to be on the planet with at this time. And it's so important, and I agree. But I think we also have to make sure that we understand that, you know, we're all human first, and that we all deserve healing, whichever way we come to it. So thank you very much.